Impeachment is effectively over. The Democrats lost on every vote so far. Nobody cares anymore. CBS stopped covering impeachment. I kid you not. CBS, one of the biggest networks in the country, decided we're not going to cover the impeachment trial. We're going to go back to regularly scheduled programming. You know what that means? You got some executive or some producer sitting behind the scenes looking at their numbers and they're like, nobody's watching this, dude. This is really, really bad for our ratings and our revenue. Okay, switch back to Big Bang Theory or whatever it is airs on CBS. I don't know, probably Big Bang Theory, right? Not even news. It was regularly scheduled programming. Nobody wants to hear Adam Schiff for the 863rd time explaining the same partisan nonsense over and over again. And so they shut it out. I was watching, I turned it off. I had it playing. I'm like, oh, yo, the impeachment's starting. And then I started hearing Adam Schiff do that same droll, like, Donald Trump pressured a country. I'm like, oh, dude, you know what, man? You have said the same thing literally 800 times. Mute. Done. I'm going back to work. I'm going to talk about aliens or something stupid. Anything is more relevant than what's going on right now with impeachment. But I should get to this story because check it out. CBS's early exit shows decisions networks face on impeachment. CBS has a distinction in its impeachment coverage. First major network to break away. You don't understand. This is huge. This is huge. We are talking about the attempted removal of the duly elected president. Now, you may be on the left, probably not, to be honest, but maybe you're a resistance person and you think Trump is guilty. I got bad news for you. America doesn't care. When you look at the aggregate polling for impeachment and removal, it's slightly in favor of not removing the president. But there is a decent amount of people who do want to see Trump impeached and removed. Even they aren't watching this anymore. Now, don't get me wrong. The diehard resistance folks of woke Twitterati are absolutely, there's a hashtag, it's like Adam Schiff rocks. And I'm thinking like, yes, rocks as in he's sitting there bland and boring, not rocks as in he's playing music. Haha, that was a really bad pun. But the point is, I got to read the story because I seriously can't stress enough how insane it is that one of the biggest, a major network in this country decided impeachment is no longer relevant to the American people. Check this out. The New York Post, which is obviously more conservative, has this op-ed, an amazing op-ed, really thought-provoking, on to the second day of Trump's impeachment trial. And it reads, is this thing still going on? That's it. That's the entire op-ed. And I saw that and I started laughing. I'm like, yeah, that's it. Listen, we knew it was going to happen. I am completely fed up with the resistance lunatics. Because I'll tell you this, man. When they start arguing about Trump and Ukraine and impeachment, I'm listening. I really am. And I'm like, dude, show me the evidence, justify your positions, have them based in reality. And I am totally on board with your plan and an impeachment inquiry. And then something funny happened. Republicans presented a list of witnesses they wanted to see. Hunter Biden in particular. Now, the Democrats say, well, why would we even call Hunter Biden? That makes no sense. Oh, it makes tons of sense. If Hunter Biden did do wrong, and there is reason to believe we should look at the evidence of the Hunter Biden, then it makes sense that Trump would be looking at this investigation on Joe and Hunter Biden, right? Just because the Democrats don't agree with Trump's presumption of corruption doesn't mean Trump is wrong to try and dig up corruption. Listen, man, if I told you the Hamburglar broke into your house and stole a cheeseburger, you can say that's absurd. I don't believe you. But that doesn't mean like my investigation into an absurd idea was illegal in any way. What they need to prove is that Trump was trying to cheat in the election. They haven't. They never even asked a single question about it. So here's what happens. Here's why I'm really, really angry and sick and tired of this. Republicans said, here's the witnesses we want. Notably, Alexandra Chalupa, I think her name is, the DNC operative who was apparently working with Ukrainian officials to meddle in the election. That's what they claim. They wanted her, and the Democrats rejected those witnesses. We've now come to the Senate trial, and I'm looking on Twitter, and all of these Trump derangement syndrome Twitterati types are going like, they're covering up. The Republicans are covering up. They're rejecting witnesses. What are you talking about? The Democrats were the ones who rejected the witnesses first. So do I think we should have witnesses? Yes. However, you expect me to get mad at the Republicans for doing what you started? Listen, man. I will absolutely say, yes, Republicans, you should have witnesses. We should move forward. Bring on Hunter Biden, okay? Bring on Joe Biden. But you know what? I can't complain about hypocrisy of the Republicans without first pointing to Democrats. So this is the funny thing, right? This is the perfect example of the kind of politics, the position I have on a lot of the content I cover. People are like, Tim, why don't you rag on Republicans? And I'm like, well, right now, the Senate Republicans are blocking witnesses. That's right, Tim. You should call them out. Okay, I can't because the Democrats did it first. Don't you understand? They don't seem to get it. They're like, Tim, why don't you make a video saying Mitch McConnell is obstructing the investigation? Because it was the Democrats who set the precedent. So I can make a video about how the Democrats are rejecting witnesses and then explain Republicans have responded in kind. So you expect Republicans to be like to be condemned for what the Democrats started? Let me tell you something. One of the arguments is, but Tim, this is the actual trial. There wouldn't be a trial if Republicans got their witnesses, or at least presumably. That's the problem. If the Republican witnesses were brought forth in the impeachment inquiry, it may have resulted in a no vote when people actually found out there was malfeasance and Donald Trump was looking into it. It's entirely possible they didn't find that and Trump was just wrong. I'll put it this way. Trump heard there was corruption. Trump said, I want it investigated. I don't think Trump should have personally called and talked to Zelensky. I said this several times. It was inappropriate. I think even Tucker Carlson had a similar opinion. He should have left it up to Bill Barr and the Justice Department. But Trump, he's this guy. You know what I mean? Trump is this guy who's like, I got to do it. I'm right all the time. He's very arrogant. He's very narcissistic. So he had to make sure that he was putting his finger on that button and pressing it, saying, go for it. I don't think he should do that for several reasons, but also because of what it's created because of it, right? You could call it tact. I also think Trump should leave these things up to his, to the Justice Department, stuff like that. But the point is, that's not impeachable. Trump being arrogant and narcissistic isn't impeachable. You can't impeach the guy because he's full of himself. If Trump thinks there's corruption, it's not impeachable. Like, listen, man, just because he's wrong doesn't mean he committed a crime. The Democrats have done nothing to actually prove that. So I would like to see Biden called forth, and then we can talk about whether or not Trump was justified. But at the end of the day, it doesn't even matter. So when it comes to calling witnesses, I also don't think it matters. Because, for the most part, Democrats have not tried even once to ask the question of whether or not Trump was concerned about losing to Joe Biden. Never happened. It never happened. They didn't ask a single witness they brought forth. And now you're mad the Republicans are saying no witnesses? You said no witnesses. You said no to these witnesses. So Republicans said, okay, no witnesses. No! And now the Democrats are shrieking. And all the TDS people on Twitter are shrieking. And I'm like, dude, look, man, I think that a lot of people are always joking about me and like a red pill. It's like, no, you don't understand, man. First of all, I'm not going to give up what I believe policy-wise simply because the Democrats are falling apart. Okay? It's crazy to me, because I did this segment yesterday on Bernie Sanders, that you either have people who are like, Bernie is right no matter what, and other people are like, Bernie is crazy no matter what. And I'm like, you can call Bernie Sanders spineless while pointing out the media is lying about him and smearing him. I'm not lying when I say he's got staffing problems. Where is the sane, regular person? You know what I mean? I guess you guys are watching my channel. And I guess most of us are here on YouTube. And it's unfortunate that I think because of the media, you tend to only have moderates and conservatives who are actually paying attention to what's going on and understand the actual arguments about how it's insane for Democrats to say no witnesses, or I shouldn't say no witnesses, but to reject the Republican witnesses and then get mad when Republicans do the same thing in the Senate. It's like, dude, that's your rule. What do you want me to do? Complain to the Republicans about what you did? This is so insane. I'm sorry I ranted for this long without reading the story. We got to read this story. The U.S. News reports, actually it's from the Associated Press. CBS was the first major network to break away from President Donald Trump's impeachment trial in the Senate on Tuesday, allowing its viewers to watch their regular afternoon fare instead of a debate over a proposed amendment to subpoena White House documents. The decision illustrated the on-the-fly judgments television executives will face every day of the trial, juggling concerns over millions of dollars in advertising revenue. News purists cognizant of the weight of history and angry soap opera fans. Uncertainty over the Senate schedule from hour to hour, much less day to day, complicates things even further. The decisions were easier when ABC, CBS, and NBC dominated the landscape and were very cognizant of their public service responsibility. Now viewers have options. Cable networks from CNN to C-SPAN and streaming services. If they want to follow the trial, while Tuesday's session was historic, opening the third impeachment trial ever in the United States. It will still be a while before the meat of the case was examined. Yet it was noticed when CBS cut off the trial around 3:15. It went to like 2 a.m. They cut it off almost 12 hours before it wrapped up. ABC and NBC stuck with it. Uncle Walter is crying, tweeted New York Times reporter Jim Ruttenberg, referencing the late legendary CBS News anchor Walter Cronkite. Tweets of incredulity at CBS for abandoning history, mixed with those from angry daytime TV fans. Why do you have impeachment on all platforms? Tweeted one viewer who was more interested in watching the young and the restless and the bold and the beautiful. Listen, this one is for you, resistance anti-Trump people, of which there's probably 10 watching. The impeachment of Trump is so mindless and boring, no one wants to watch it. Nothing new is happening. Here's the way I described it. I had the impeachment trial on. Adam Schiff went into his ridiculous... I can't tell you, man. It makes me want to punch a hole through the wall. Hearing him say the same thing every day for months, it's like torture. It reminded me of that episode of that Family Guy joke where Stewie comes into Lois's bedroom. I tweeted about this. You may have saw the clip. It's hilarious because Lois has this look on her face where she's just like her eyes are half closed and she's super stressed out. And Stewie's going, Mom, 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 Ma, Mama, Mama, Mom, Mom, Lois, Mom. And then she's finally like, what? And then he's like, and he runs away. I'm like, that's literally what impeachment feels like. Adam Schiff saying the exact same thing over and over and over. And then finally, everyone goes, okay, what's the evidence? And he goes, and he runs away. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't take it. I just hit that mute button. And you know what I did? As soon as I wrapped up work, I put on cartoons. I'm like, here we go. I didn't put on like kids cartoons. I put on like American Dad. American Dad's great. I love that show. But it's a good way to like erase all of that stuff. And now for some reason, here you all are, gluttons for punishment, listening to me talk about impeachment. But at least, I feel like this is kind of therapeutic to point out that CBS shut down historical impeachment coverage because of how irrelevant it is. That's amazing to me. I mean, it is fair to say that you've got impeachment wall-to-wall coverage on all these different channels. But wow, here we are in this historic moment of this country, and nobody cares. Nobody cares. Nobody's watching. Nobody wants to watch. We're sick of it. Let's read a little bit more. They say rivals. Oh, okay, here we go. A CBS representative noted that the network's news streaming service was continuing to carry the trial and that the network affiliates were given the choice to continue to show the Senate if that's what their executives preferred. Rivals at ABC and NBC privately noted that the fact that it was the trial's opening day played into the decisions to stick with it longer. Fox's broadcast network, which doesn't have its own news division, infrequently breaks away from traditional programming. All of the broadcast networks had contingency plans in place depending on what was being shown at the time of the day. There was little interest in making public pronouncements of their plans given the fluidity of the situation. There's a quote here. They say, these decisions are difficult and they're not always solely in the hands of the news divisions, said Mark Lukaszewicz. I'm sorry, I can't pronounce names. You guys know that. A former NBC News executive and now dean of Hofstra University's School of Communications. Network entertainment and corporate executives also weigh in. Sticking with the news coverage becomes more difficult for the networks in the primetime hours of 8 to 11 p.m. because that means a more significant loss of advertising revenue. That's why network executives were keenly interested in Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell's decision Tuesday that impeachment managers for the House and President would have 3 days instead of 2 to make their cases. It means fewer hours in primetime are likely to be chewed up. Can you you know what, man? It's hilarious. This is a consideration. You know what I find really, really funny? There was this big outrage from, I'm doing air quotes here for journalists and like Brian Stelter, where they were like, this is an unprecedented restriction of our ability to cover the Senate. Because apparently the Senate rule was like, they're only going to allow the actual government cameras to film the impeachment trial. And they're not going to allow journalists with they've restricted a lot of access. And I'm like, so what? This thing is wall-to-wall coverage, live streamed all day and night. The feed is going out. You can hear everything being said. There's no secrets. We have access. Why do these news networks need special privied access? It's all about the ratings, baby. It's all about the ratings. I'll tell you what, man. You should be happy that they restricted you in this way because now you have an excuse to not dedicate ridiculous amounts of coverage to something no one cares about. I do have a couple other things that I really want to get to, and I'll probably wrap this one up. I've been going long in the mornings for whatever reason. Check this out. Senate approves impeachment trial rules, rejecting witnesses. This is significant because basically every amendment the Democrats put forward were shot down. Duh. Everybody knows it. Nobody needs me to tell you this. Seriously, do you need me to tell you right now? Hey, guess what, guys? Did you know that yesterday during the impeachment, Republicans shot down everything the Democrats wanted? It's literally what happened in the House. We knew it was going to happen. We knew it was a waste of time. Republicans control the Senate. They're going to control everything. But I will say, shame on you to Republicans. Okay, I'll tell you why. John Roberts reprimands both sides in Donald Trump's impeachment trial for calling each other traitors and liars after Senate blows past midnight as Democrats lose caustic battle to get witnesses and evidence. Yeah, the Democrats lost. Surprise, surprise. Well, look, if the Democrats allowed witnesses in the House inquiry, they would have a really strong case to say, we gave you the witnesses you wanted. Why are you blocking our witnesses? Instead, they're complaining about the precedent that they set. Nah, I'm not interested in that. I will say though, shame on you to the Republicans. Why would you play the same game? John Roberts reprimanded both sides. Sorry, I don't care if you're a conservative, moderate, liberal, whatever. John Roberts seems to be like a good dude here who wants to get the job done. I'm not going to, I don't know what his leanings are necessarily, but he said, we got to keep things civil discourse. If the Republicans keep their composure, they can continually have the moral high ground, for what it's worth, against the Democrats. Here's the thing. Right now, I do think it is absurd there's no witnesses or evidence, right? But what am I supposed to complain about? The Democrats are the ones who initiated it. So am I going to blame like I said earlier, right? Therein lies the big challenge. If the Republicans play the same game as Democrats, it will be harder to justify why the Democrats are actually wrong if both sides do the exact same things. But I do think it's fair to say Democrats are wrong on this one. They are reaching. It is partisan. They just hate Trump. It's crazy to me because when everyone's like telling me take the red pill or that joke, I'm just like, dude, listen, there are regular rational people who don't like Donald Trump and want to see a strong alternative. We need it for the health of this country. You know what I mean? So I look at Trump and I'm like, not my choice. I understand why people voted for him. I can recognize the things he's accomplished, but policy-wise, not my choice. But I'll be honest, I'm fairly ambivalent. I just lean slightly to a lot of Democrat positions. And so that means I'm looking for someone who's sane and rational. Guess what? We don't have any. We've got Yang and Tulsi. They'll never be allowed to win. I did this thread earlier, right? I think Yang has really proven himself. I think Yang has shown he's the most willing to have a real conversation with Trump on policy issues. I don't trust any of the Democrats to say anything other than orange man bad. And that's exactly what we're seeing with impeachment. And this is why I'm giving a shout out to Yang right now, and we'll wrap things up. Yang said the Democrats need to stop blaming Trump for all their problems. Trump isn't the cause of their problems. And yes, thank you. He's not. It's ridiculous. These problems that are happening in this country were happening before Trump and under Obama, but that's the game they play. So I appreciate Yang coming out and saying that. I don't think Yang could beat Trump. I'm not convinced. I'm also not convinced a lot of his policies would be effective. I know that there's a lot of things, he's very progressive on a lot of issues, Medicare for all, gun control stuff. I don't agree with it for the most part. But I do think Yang has proven if any one of these people is actually going to talk to Trump on a debate stage about actual economic issues, it's going to be him. Because I'd be willing to bet you put Biden up there and he's going to be like, you tried to cheat. Don't want to hear it. Don't want to hear it. You put up Warren and she's going to be like, you're a sexist. Oh, don't want to hear it. Don't want to hear it. I don't trust Bernie. I think Bernie's too spineless. That guy is so spineless. So I think for the strength and good of this nation, we need someone who can speak to certain progressive values for many of these people who are not, under the TDS curse, who actually would be willing to listen to an argument. And if we want to have a real conversation in this country to move forward, then it needs to be, in my opinion, Andrew Yang. It really does. Shout out for Tulsi. Tulsi has the most integrity out of any of these Democrats. But I think as much as I really do respect and appreciate her message, because I think foreign policy comes first for one reason. It's been a disaster for the United States. It's a waste of our money. I think at this point, Yang's policy positions, his strength, his maintaining of his campaign means I think he should be the nominee. I really, really do. And then Tulsi is a close second. The main reason I like Tulsi is not for the most part her policies. It's her willingness to try and bring people together. And it's foreign policy issues. I think if we can stop wasting all that money overseas and bring it back to this country, we can fix a lot of problems. But in terms of having a debate with the president, I think Tulsi does play too much into Trump is bad all the time. And I'm like, I trust her in the sense that she's going to talk about foreign policy, and I really trust her that she's going to bring the troops home and stuff like that. I want to, because I think Trump is going to win, because I think Trump is going to landslide this and so the Republicans, I want to see a conversation between Yang and Trump on core fundamental issues. I want to see a conversation about this from somebody who's not going to screech about why the president should be impeached over a perfect phone call. Andrew Yang has said, we can't be obsessed with impeachment. We can't keep blaming Trump for everything. And so I'd like to see these two guys have a conversation, because I think as much as Trump will, call, I don't know what he would call Yang. That's another thing too. Like, he likes making up names for people. Lion Ted, Sleepy Joe. I don't know. Crazy Yang. I don't know what he would call Yang. But I think Yang would be the most, I think if you put Yang and Trump on a debate stage, you'd actually hear about economic policy. You'd hear about trade. It would be really interesting. So I don't know. I went long on that because I did a Twitter thread about it. But let me just wrap up, man. I'm sorry you had to watch this segment talking about impeachment. Please, if you can stomach watching impeachment, more power to you, man. I wish you luck. I'm not gonna do it. But whatever, man. Stick around. Let me stress before I wrap up. The fact that CBS cut off impeachment is profound. Like, this is a historic moment for this country, and they're like, nobody cares. Nobody cares. So here's what I'm saying, man. I'm not telling you to like Yang. I'm not telling you to like Trump. I tell this every time, but for some reason, whatever it is, it's only the moderates and the conservatives who understand when I'm talking about a candidate. I'm not telling you to like them. I'm not saying you must like or not like Trump. You must like or not like Yang. I'm saying, like, I'd like to see Yang have a conversation with Trump about economic policy. I think Trump's done a really good job on the economy. They don't want to give him credit for it. You can't deny it, man. It's ridiculous. They try to deny it. So I'd like to hear what Yang has to say. I'd like to see a strong Democratic Party propose alternatives and solutions that the Republicans might not see. We're not getting that. So it's not about me wanting to vote for a Republican. It's about me seeing plain as day the Democrats have lost their minds. You know what I mean? And so here I am, politically homeless. Impeachment is a waste of time. Nobody cares. Let's have a real conversation. Let's have a real conversation about automation, immigration, economic policy. And I would really love to see Yang's view contrasted with Trump's view. That'd be amazing. Anyway, I'll leave it there. Stick around. Next segment's coming up at 1 p.m. on this channel, youtube.com/TimCastNews, and I will see you all then.